The tragic life and murder of Ocey Snead. A fragile young woman was mistreated and killed by her own family, all for insurance money. Oceana Wardlaw Martin Snead, known as Ocey, was born in September of 1885 to Carolyn Bell Wardlaw and Colonel Robert Maxwell Martin. From the beginning, her life was shaped by the women around her. Her mother, Carolyn, and Caroline's sisters, Mary, Virginia, and Bessie. Only Bessie would remain uninvolved in the tragedy that followed. Caroline herself had a troubled history. She worked in education, but her behavior was unstable. She was even removed from at least one position for her erratic conduct. And the Wardlaw sisters as a whole carried a reputation for secrecy, manipulation, and tragedy. Before Ocey's own suffering reached its peak, the family had already been touched by a suspicious death. Ocey's cousin John mysteriously caught fire and died from severe burns. The sisters insisted it was an accident and collected an insurance settlement, but later investigations concluded that John had likely been murdered for insurance money. It was the first clear sign of a pattern that would eventually claim Ocey's life. In 1906, Ocey married her first cousin, Fletcher Wardlaw Snead, the son of her Aunt Mary. Fletcher had been married before and had one child from that marriage. With Ocey, he had two more children, Mary Alberta Snead, who died just days after birth, and David Pollock Snead, who died at 9 months old. After the death of their first child, and while Ocey was early in her second pregnancy, Fletcher suddenly left. He never contacted her again. He simply disappeared from her life, leaving her entirely in the care of her mother and two aunts, the same women who had controlled and mistreated her since childhood. Under their control, Ocey's health began to collapse. Dr. William Pettit was called to examine her. He found a young woman suffering from weakness, depression, and malnutrition. He gave the sisters clear instructions for her care, but they ignored every one of them. When they refused to pay him, he stopped visiting. The sisters then called another doctor. This doctor was so disturbed by Ocey's condition that he smuggled food to her in secret. After she gave birth to baby David, he even climbed through a window to check on her, but Virginia caught him and threw him out of the house. A lawyer told him there was nothing he could legally do. Months later, Dr. Pettit was called back. He found Ocey even weaker and no longer pregnant. Baby David had been placed in an orphanage by the sisters, where he died at 9 months old. The sisters then asked Dr. Pettit to tell Ocey she was dying and to help her make a will. He refused. He arranged for a nurse to care for her, but the sisters removed the nurse after 1 day. They even offered Dr. Pettit a place as a beneficiary in Ocey's will. He refused and they fired him. The sisters moved Ocey again, and this time to a nearly empty apartment. Her condition continued to decline. She was weak, malnourished, and drugged with unnecessary morphine. On November 29, 1909, the sisters called the police, claiming there had been an accident. Dr. Simmons, the assistant county physician, was led by Virginia to an upstairs bathroom. There, he found Ocey, naked in a bathtub, her head tilted under the faucet. A suicide note was pinned to her clothing nearby. The note spoke of sorrow, illness, and a desire for relief. But investigators quickly noticed something was wrong. The apartment was cold and looked unoccupied. Ocey had been dead for at least 24 hours before anyone called for help, and the handwriting on the suicide note had resembled other notes found with Carolyn. Her death was ruled a drowning, with starvation as a major contributing factor. Suspicion immediately fell on the three sisters. Investigators uncovered multiple life insurance policies on Ocey, several suicide notes with similar handwriting, a long history of abuse, and the earlier suspicious death of cousin John. All three sisters were arrested. Virginia starved herself to death in jail. Caroline pled guilty to manslaughter and was sent to an insane asylum. Mary was released on a technicality. Ocey was continuously done wrong by everyone around her. And the heartbreaking question remains: why did no one ever try to rescue her? If you like true history stories like this, stay tuned for more.